Welcome to Wales Tech Week 2021. Thank you to our partners. Enjoy the session.
Hello there, welcome to our second session of the day at Wales Tech Week. This is Capventis speaking today, and I'm just going to introduce you at the very beginning to our showcase this afternoon, which will be winning in the experience economy. I'll be passing straight across to Brian O'Flynn, who is going to be taking you through this part of our talk.
Thank you, Carwyn, and welcome everybody to the first part of our session this afternoon, which is using customer experience to drive the right action. My name is Brian O'Flynn. I'm a director with Capventis. I'm also the interim head of our experience management practice. Okay. In Capventis, we think of data in two ways. We think of it as O and X data. O being operational data, and that's the sort of things that people are used to seeing in data, as in like how much revenue did we make? How many service requests did we deal with? How much did something cost? How many hours did somebody work? However, another important metric is experience data, and that is looking at things like customer satisfaction scores, or something like NPS, Net Promoter Score, where you might ask somebody on a scale of 1 to 10, would you recommend our organization? So what I'd like to share with you today is a pilot project that we did with our client DNV, and in this project we're going to show how a combination of O, operational data, and experience data has been used to drive real and tangible action. So joining us today is I've got two people on the session with me today. There's Rune Johnsen from DNV and my colleague Joseph. So Rune, I'm going to start with yourself. Can you tell me a bit about yourself and tell me a bit about DNV?
Yeah, thank you, Brian. So my name is Rune Johnsen. I'm from DNV. I'm located in Norway, and I work in the unit called Digital Solutions. So DNV is a global company, a global independent assurance and risk management company. So we've been around for 157 years. We have more than 12,000 employees, more than 100,000 customers. Actually, it's more than 150 countries established, and we spend at least 5% of our annual revenue purely on R&D. We focus on classification and advisory within ship and offshore. Within energy, we work on advisory, certification, verification, inspection, and monitoring. This includes renewable energy as well as oil and gas and pipeline sectors. And within management system certification, supply chain, and product insurance. So can you share the screen again, please? There we go. Yeah, okay, I'm just, okay, you can go to that slide. So our purpose is to safeguard life, property, and the environment. Next, please. And our vision, a trusted voice to tackle global transformation. That's,
okay, thanks, Rune. That's really interesting. So can you tell me a bit about the customer journey you've been on and some of the challenges that you've had?
Yes. We are continuously listening to our customers. We have meetings every day, our CAM and salespeople do, but as many other companies, we are kind of backing that up with feedback surveys from customers. And we started in 2011 with kind of annual surveys, and many of you have seen this. And of course, for somebody, it's a really hassle, but for us, it's really, really valuable to get insight. So we're starting off with that, covering all the services and products. From 2015, it was kind of more real time, and we tried to kind of meet the customer at the right moment to give the feedback with their experience, from everything from seminars and project deliveries, support, and training courses, you name it. And then from 2019, we kind of combined all this together, even more real time, to kind of capture the moment of truth of the customer, how they feel about what we do, and to gain their experience on what they're doing. So this is basically where we are now.
Okay, very, very good. That's great. So can you just show me a typical kind of customer experience survey? What does that look like?
Yeah, so general questions. So these are just some questions. We ask the customers, so how satisfied are you overall with DME? And this might vary depending on the situation, where they're from. And then we might have some more specific questions as well, and some text feedback from delivery surveys or from support. And we try to see the combination of these things and how these kind of influences each other and what really matters. So this is just some really brief example of that.
Okay, that's really good. So just explain the reasoning then behind going for a pilot project where you wanted to combine X and O data. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we are kind of looking into the data and trying to figure out what really influences what we do, and how does it matter in terms of what we are earning and the satisfaction of the customers. That's what we want to look into. But I guess then Joseph, he will have an example of this.
Okay, so what we're going to do is going to hand over to Joseph, and Joseph is going to give us a demo of the application where we can actually show the experience data and the operational data being mixed together to actually drive real insight for D&B.
Thanks, Brian. So for this proof of concept project, we used ClickSense, which is our preferred data analytics platform, which allows us to integrate and visualize data from various different sources. In this case, we merged X data from Qualtrics surveys with operational data coming from Salesforce. This is an example application of the work we built, and this is excluding any sensitive data. So the first thing we wanted to identify or prove was whether there was a correlation between operational data and experience data. The main metrics of focus here are the Net Promoter Score and the CSAT, or satisfaction score. And then on the operational side of things, we have the value won from deals over time. And this is, of course, coming from Salesforce. Now, at a high level, we can see the Net Promoter Score and the CSAT score, which are coming from the Qualtrics data, track very closely against the operational data metric coming from Salesforce. And this is consistent even when we drill down to specific business areas. We can still see that they have a very close relationship. So then, having identified that there's a correlation here, the question then is, can we use this to identify areas we need to focus on and then the actions needed to add value to the business? So I'm going to skip across to the next screen now and clear the selections that I used earlier to limit the data set. So what we started with was identifying groups of customers that we would potentially need to target. We arranged customers into buckets based on their last activity date. So their last activity date based on deals, project renewal, support contracts, etc. And this allowed us to identify customers who were inactive. So for example, we can select all customers that have been active or inactive for more than a year. These customers can be considered likely to churn or have churned. We can then use something like this scatter plot to see how the customers are distributed based on their NPS and CSAT scores. So we can see two quadrants of particular interest emerging here. In the lower left quadrant here, we can see inactive customers that are scoring poorly in CSAT and NPS. And then in the top right quadrant, we can see customers that, although they are inactive, we have a pretty good relationship with them. So we can actually go ahead and isolate those customer accounts so that we can focus specifically on those customers, as this is where we have a good relationship and can potentially easily enough generate new business here. So having isolated that group of customers, we can now evaluate different stages of our engagement with the customer to try and assess what areas we should focus on to improve the experience of these customers. So one such area that we can look at is around support valuation. So we used the support evaluation survey coming from Qualtrics to understand customer experience with regards to the support process. We also performed a sentiment analysis on the feedback comments left, which was able to tell us whether a comment was positive, negative, neutral, or mixed. And it would also help us understand what types of themes were present within the comment. So for example, if they are making reference to a person or specifically to an organization. So one of the things this tells us, for example, is that if we drill into the positive comments, we can see that there's a large focus on the person theme. So this indicates that people working in support are overall making a very good impression on the customers. So then what we did was combine the sentiment analysis with the metrics coming directly from the support surveys to understand where the potential issues might lie. This aggregated support CSAT score is an aggregated metric based on satisfaction scores from customers across the 4 support axioms, which are service attitude, follow-up CSAT, response time CSAT, and answer quality. So by mapping out the reasons for the ticket, we were able to identify that case reasons scoring poorly in any combination of metrics were also doing badly in other combinations of metrics. So just as an example, I'll take the selection here for these case reasons. And we can actually see now that most of these case reasons are also in the bottom left quadrant of the combination of service attitude CSAT and follow-up CSAT. So this would tell us that we need to focus specifically in these areas. So what we were then able to do was use the sentiment analysis to help us drill into the negative comments, identify common themes between the comments, and then lastly, drill into specific feedback to surface the actionable insights that would generate the most value to the business. So that's a quick summary of the type of analysis that's possible by merging X and O data and how it can be used to close the loop with the customers, generating real actionable insight for the business. So I'll now hand you back to Brian.
Thanks for that, Joseph. That looked great. So Rune, back over to yourself. So what has been the impact of this work, and what are the next steps that you're thinking of taking?
Yeah, so for us now, we need to kind of harmonize a lot more of the data, being even more structured about it. We are talking with the customer in so many different channels that we need to combine this even better. So that's kind of the thing that we're looking at now, and also improving what is called a closed loop program, basically being able to respond very quickly to our customers to ensure that the customers get feedback on any channel communication they might have into it. And this kind of analytics will help us in identifying if other really good promoters out there that can help us going even further, or are there any that are not happy? I mean, are they likely to churn? So churn reasons or predictions that we need to catch up. So that is quite important. And it's very important for us to get the fingertips on any challenge that the customer might have at that moment. So the goal for us basically throughout all of this is to ensure that we bring trust and that we can provide the services to our customers that help them solving their challenges. So this is the key for us. And even in Wales, we have a lot of customers on pipeline, electricity, in the public sector as well as the private. Our goal is to make you have a success.
Rune, listen, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for sharing that great story with us. Also, thank you, Joseph, for demonstrating that to us. So again, hopefully we're able to show again how a combination of operational experience data can be used to actually drive tangible action into your organization. That's it from us. So next up, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, Matt, and Matt is going to talk about digitization in customer services. So Matt, over to you.
Hi all, and welcome to the session on digital transformation for customer service. This can help your organization reduce cost, increase customer satisfaction, and increase revenue. So I'm Matt Brown. I'm originally from Wales, but emigrated down the M4 and now live in sunny London. My background is 20 years in customer support and tech operations, working in various industries, including telecoms and payments, and working with the likes of Google and Microsoft. This session will have two parts to it. So the first part will be key points for digital transformation that you should consider. And the second will be a customer story to kind of bring that to life and give you some real life examples. So the 6 points for digital transformation of your customer service. Number one, make it easy. So what do I mean by make it easy? So firstly, make it easy for your customers. They should be able to contact you on any channel, wherever they are, whether it's the traditional things like email and phone, or the kind of more modern ones like social media and WhatsApp. That should be seamless and they shouldn't have to repeat themselves. Similarly, the self-help should be available again 24/7. People want to find what they want quickly, so be able to contact someone easily. And the newer systems, if you're talking about digital transformation, leveraging things like AI and bots to integrate with other systems. So things like changing an order, a big thing in e-commerce, giving them options. So do you want to, for example, look at my account, look at orders, and then make a refund. They'll enter their email address and order ID, and automatically they're emailed a code that they can print out and send back. So they're happier, they're dealt with 24/7, and it saves you cost as well, because that ticket never reaches an agent. But at the same time, the key thing is making it easy for your agents. So the obvious one is giving them context about the customer. So I mentioned there about seeing all the previous interactions in one place, in one agent interface. So seeing whether they've contacted you on chat or WhatsApp or Facebook, all within one ticket, being able to see whether they're a premium customer, whether they should have this service. And similarly, being able to contact them on the channel that they like best, email, WhatsApp, all from one place. And similarly, again, is leveraging things like template replies that dynamically pull in the sender's name, categorize the tickets, and automations that route the tickets to the right team. So why does this matter? So two key points are improved customer experience through the faster responses, the better quality responses, and it being easier to reach out for help, or in some cases not even needing to reach out for help. So doing things with fewer clicks, quicker onboarding, they're getting up to speed quicker, and lower attrition rate. And again, all that efficiency is again saving you cost, because you're doing the same thing, and in some cases about 10% at the time. So you imagine the resource cost that you're saving on these things. Point number two is cloud-based, and the key word being open tech. When I say open, I don't mean open source, I mean interoperable, as in it talks systems, it's easy to communicate with other systems, have something that's modern and fresh and flexible. So, I mean, who knows what tools will be out there in 3 years, 5 years time, but having your tech that's kind of open to integrate with those other systems and adapt and be flexible with your business needs is a key component. And on top of all this, this is all on the foundation, almost like a given, if you like, of having it secure, compliant, and highly available. These all sit nicely within the cloud-based environment and tech stack. But don't just take my word for it. Gartner found that new technology architectures designed to natively reflect the cloud experience, they prepare organizations for the future of applications and platforms like I just mentioned. They prioritize agility, so the business's ability to adapt, and like some of the DevOps principles, if anyone's familiar with them, the continuous innovation and continuous delivery, just like the companies like Amazon and Netflix do. So let's bring that to life and give you some real life examples of how that can help the business. You can see here the agent interface, or the ticketing tool, if you like, for customer service. That is an open platform that can also integrate when the customer contacts you, looking at those orders, looking at product alerts. So for example, or if a system's down, you can automate something that comes into that ticketing system. So you find that these issues before the customers. So you're being proactive instead of reactive, or sometimes before they even become issues. Similarly, IT assets, another example of laptops and things. And a really good example is bots and AI bots. So going back to that orders example, where the customer wants to, say, change their delivery dates or kind of have a refund, that ability for the bot to integrate with other systems like the orders system and then play that back into the customer service system is a key thing about being open and flexible. Number 3, data-rich solution. Now, data-rich should be an obvious one, I'd imagine. I mean, data is so important these days, rightly so. And Harvard Business Review found that 87% of CX executives said it's essential to have data if they want to improve outcomes in CX. So here are some examples about why you should do it and what the sort of things you should be looking at. So obviously the 360-degree view of the customer across all channels, all touch points, but then having the kind of right now view of the world. So right now, how many tickets have I got open? How many per team? What is the, how many of them are breached? How many across the different channels? But then equally looking at the trends, so the daily, the last 7 days, the last 12 weeks, and the last 12 months, and ultimately getting actionable insights to enable you to take action. And I'll explain some more and give you some examples of that in the customer session. 4, total cost of ownership. Now, I like this one because I think this diagram really kind of shows it well. The obvious one for businesses is the license cost. And again, rightly so, because that is an important thing and that is a big thing. But the other key things are some legacy systems are really difficult and costly and kind of time consuming if you want to update them. So for example, the administration of your business rules, your reporting, if you want to make those changes and update certain things, in some cases you need to rely on somebody else. So maybe either the company or a third party, and that can take weeks. It can cost a lot of money. Where if you've got a tool or tech that allows you to do that yourself, you're saving time and money, and you can make changes really, really quickly. Likewise with the implementation, some of these big projects take kind of quarters or years. With tech nowadays, this should be happening in a matter of weeks in most cases. And finally, maintenance as well. So going back to like typical on-premise things, I remember sort of big quarterly releases, sometimes annual releases, where there's so much changes going in, and it requires a lot of effort from your side in terms of training people on the new features, upgrading it, and then there's typically bugs and things. Whereas in SaaS, software as a service platforms and tools, you don't need to go through that. Their small incremental changes are done in the background without you needing to worry about that. So someone mentioned to me recently, so SaaS does agile, so you don't have to. So agile being kind of the iterative software development cycle. So the penultimate one is map the tech to the business, and worked on a lot of projects. And the key thing really is not just shoehorning the tech into your business. At Capventis, what we do across all projects and all areas is we map the business in what we call a blueprint. So ultimately, it's about the outcome. What business outcomes do you want to achieve? Understanding those and then mapping out the players, so the people involved, the stakeholders, the business processes, the proposition, the information to capture, and then crucially the measurements in terms of what you need to measure. And basically factoring that in with your tech stack as well. And from that, once you understand that first and foremost, then you can mold the technology to really meet your business needs and meet those business objectives. If anyone's familiar with ITIL or ITSM, the term there at the top, adopt and adapt, is ITIL is a framework for IT where you adopt components of it and adapt them to your business. And I see that being the same with your tech stack as well here to meet your business outcomes. And finally, in terms of your delivery, so your implementation on this digital transformation project is, again, across all our projects, is brilliant basics. What that means is Rune wasn't built in a day, so don't try and do it all at once. We generally recommend doing a phased project to realize value sooner and de-risk the project. And after every phase, performing lots of reviews, whether in terms of the design phase, the configuration, the preparation, the go live, and then kind of repeating that one phase at a time. So just to summarize why they're important, I've kind of correlated like it's nice, but what really is the benefit of that. So obviously making it easy, you're doing more with less, so you're saving cost. The customers are more happier, so they'll be more loyal and increase revenue, plus make further purchases and improve satisfaction, again, from agents and from customers. Data rich, I'll speak more about this shortly, about how that can reduce cost and continually improve. Open and flexible, again, of having that customer context, not having to go into different systems. And cost of ownership obviously would be a reduced cost, but not just the high level license cost, but the ongoing costs that I discussed there, and ultimately making your business more agile to change. And then finally, the two kind of process type things of mapping the business and the tech together, and also implementing in a kind of phased approach, doing brilliant basics first. These are key things, so you don't kind of do it wrong. You don't have to redo it, so you're getting it right first time. So we've talked about the key things to look out for. Here's a story now about a customer, a big customer that we work with. So Sandvik are a global company that provide these huge machines you can see here, mobile crushers and screens, and their customers are distributors that resell these globally. So Sandvik have over 40,000 employees globally, and over 100 billion pounds in 100 billion Swedish krona in revenue, which is also multiple billion pounds as well. Their technical support team were in 3 regions. So you had the Americas, sort of Europe, Middle East, and Africa as the second one, and then the third one being APAC, so Asia Pacific. The current statement, so before they did this, and the reason why they did it was the right now version was one shared inbox across all regions. There were multiple people touching those emails, so they couldn't see when an email was read, or kind of if multiple people were dealing with those emails, how many they were working through, how good that quality was. So it was really messy. And same thing with the phones. There was one central number plus people's personal numbers. And in short, it was a chaotic process for everyone involved, and it was resulting in poor customer satisfaction. So they drew up these list of requirements. So world-class support globally and 24/7. Efficiency across all regions, efficiency being the operative word there. Maximizing customer satisfaction with Sandvik services, so they retain and grow the business. Anyone who's worked in customer service will know that response and resolution times obviously a key thing there. So that was one thing to improve. And really use data as part of this. So really use data to drive agent and regional improvement, and prioritizing self-content, again, looking at data, looking at why people are contacting. So for example, having a list of error codes in the help center, so the distributors can find that whenever they want without having to contact someone. And the final point on data-driven ITSM or ITIL term is continual service improvement. So having the metrics to continually review and improve, which I'll show you some of these shortly. And finally is that management view of visibility of all the issues in the current state globally. So before they started on this project, they had those requirements. They went through these key 5 steps. So reviewing the help desk suppliers, although there was a kind of a step before this where they reviewed the internal capability. Then it was review the help desk suppliers, define the critical functionality that they needed. Another key thing was ensuring local implementation support, so having someone on site to help them. I know that's probably more difficult nowadays with COVID, but having someone there to guide you step by step all the way, and kind of make sure the best practices and everything's done properly. Again, going back to right first time. They then ranked the top 5 options and did a cost review. And the outcome of all of that was they went with a tool called Zendesk, and Capventis were the implementation partner. So the value, so what they actually did after all of that, so remember that those kind of emails and that phone situation, they ended up with basically all requests came into one place, so nothing was missed. And that was all channels, so whether it's live chat, phone, now have email or emails for different regions. A portal, so this was all built into their existing customer portal, also through single sign-on, so they'll sign into the portal and they don't need to sign on again, so it directly comes into this kind of space, the customer service space, and also WhatsApp as well. which is really good for people on site and so they can take pictures of these machines. The self-service enables them to deflect tickets 24/7. So again, happy customers and reducing costs to support. Automated routing and reminders. So depending on the organization and the category, that's automatically routed to the relevant team. And reminders to things like the customers if they need to provide more information. A common thing I've found through all customer service teams is people might contact you and then not provide the information, you don't hear from them again. So automating those so you can focus on the proper value add things in a customer friendly way. So again, reducing time and cost. The regions are now supporting each other 24/7. So at the end of the day, if they've got a load of issues they're dealing with and one of the other regions are coming online, they can easily kind of see those issues and transfer them and collaborate on those issues. As a result of a lot of these things, there's improved speed and response rates. So things like the automations, things like the template replies, things like the self-help that also the agents have access to, which again improves CSAT and it reduces the agent handling time and reduces cost. And finally, advanced reporting to continually improve, which I'll explain now. These insights are interactive, so there's dashboards that exist across all areas. They can be looked at per region, per agent. The first thing to call out is demand analysis. So see why people are contacting you, what channels they're contacting you on, the types of questions they're asking you. Again, find out why and could you prevent some of these? Could these be maybe training? Could it be process improvements? And similarly, machine types. So what types of machines are causing the most requests? Is there something that needs to be fed back to the product or parts team or something like that? A really key thing for this one as well was continuous improvement. So customer satisfaction is an obvious one, reviewing that regularly, reviewing the type of feedback you're getting and then acting on it. And bottlenecks, anyone who's worked in customer service where you're reliant on another team, an external team or internal or external, you might complain that these things don't get fixed quicker. But with this reporting, it's there for all to see. The old adage, what gets measured gets done, is very true here. So in the kind of chart on the right here, the second one, you can see week on week, the kind of tickets per team. So for example, the yellow team, it's 788 hours it's been with that team from about X weeks ago. So when that goes up to management and the relevant teams, there's accountability, and the result of that will be reduced resolution times for these issues. But even if they say they can't fix it, at least that's improving customer satisfaction because you can feed that back. And then also late reason. So if cases don't meet the SLA or the targets, there's a categorization of why it's late. Again, reviewing, so is that process, training, or is it something wrong with the products? And then so you can continually review and improve this so you can provide the best possible service in the most cost-effective way. And another common one to anyone in customer service, I'm sure, is SLA trends. So looking at things like how many achieved and breach and what your percentage is as well, but seeing the kind of the count versus the percent so you can correlate the two together. So a really successful program of work, but it's not stopped there. They're continuing to innovate. And the next two key things are a really cool tool for augmented reality with something called SiteCall. Again, talking about open tech and integration. So an example of this would be, let's say I'm at a machine, I'm holding the phone like you see in the picture, and I say, look, my machine's not working. The agent can kind of see that screen and draw on it and circle, say, okay, press this button. So massively powerful thing, save being on a call, trying to explain it. They can actually see and annotate on your phone in real time. The second one is proactive tickets. So going back to that thing where their machines are being monitored, if there's errors, they'll be creating tickets so their agents will see the tickets before, hopefully, the customers, and they can be on it straight away. Or if it's not being fixed, they can communicate to them and manage that process. So that's it from me. I hope you found that useful in terms of digitizing or digitally transforming your customer service. You can contact us at capventis.com or hello@capventis.com. I'll now hand you back to our CTO, Mike Hawks.
We cover the entire customer journey. As you will have seen, we cover the entire customer journey. What I mean by that is that we start with customer engagement, or how a business communicates, interacts, and transacts with their customers. And we do this across all channels. In this case, channels refer to email, chat, mobile and social media, or messaging platforms. Then we look at the experiences and how to measure how well we handle them. Here, we use world-class tools to help you measure your customers' or employees' experience. Note that I said employees, because the tools we use can measure experiences from all parties, whether internal, those inside your team, or external, those of your clients, customers, or suppliers. Understanding the customer engagement and experience allows you to better define how you interact, improve your sales and engagement pipeline, and enhance both working environments and the relationship you have with your customers or suppliers. In order to bring all of this together, we have our own tools to help with data management, integration, and all of the functionality that allows the business systems to communicate, connect, or transfer data. In this domain, we can process and analyze data within a secure environment. As we continue through the life cycle, we need to perform more detailed analysis of these experiences. Here, we bring specialist analytic tools in to allow us to visualize and explore, to predict outcomes, and support the decision-making process within the business. Once we have all of this information, then we have the underlying data, and we're able to analyze it. We're able to connect it. Then we want to turn all of this insight into action. And that's the real key, turning insight into action. It's the whole purpose of collecting and managing all of this data. Used correctly, this entire tool chain allows you to start driving your business based on real-world measurements and data. We use virtually any tool and often develop or provide interfaces between cloud platforms and internal legacy systems. But we do partner with the best-of-breed technologies in each of these areas. For customer engagement, we recommend Zendesk, an amazing platform capable of dealing with knowledge sharing, problem resolution, things like ITSM and support activities. For measuring and analyzing customer and employee experiences, we partner with Qualtrics, and within it, its IQ components can help visualize the current state of your customer experiences in extreme amounts of detail. Talking of analytics, we partnered with Qlik, as we believe it provides the best-of-breed analytics and visualization tools. As you'd probably expect, we also work with other technologies such as Power BI or Tableau too. To store and link data, we became the first global partner for the next generation of database technologies, bringing a completely new paradigm to how you manage and control your data. We partnered with dgraph. This graph database can scale horizontally and vertically, and I think this makes it the only truly scalable graph database technology available in the world today. Here at mSpark, we're now building our own suite of products and services that integrate all of these skills. And we're building new systems that provide contextualized web services. This allows us to move seamlessly between the business-to-customer and business-to-business environments. We're extending our integration toolkit and associated platforms, known affectionately as Glue, and creating new ways of synchronizing, orchestrating, and analyzing huge volumes of data with incredible speed. When we look at information, we often access different platforms. On one side, it's the customer-facing systems. On the other, it's the business-to-business information. Our Glue toolkit allows us to bring these two traditionally separate environments together. Within our Glue platform, we assume that you're a customer until you start to create services or need dedicated integrations or complex functionality. At this point, we transition between business to customer and connect you to the business-to-business services. Having said that, you can keep both environments running behind the scenes. Glue will track what you need and move you between the B2B and B2C environments seamlessly. At the lowest level, B2B needs deeply technical capabilities, and our Glue engine provides that low-level functionality. We can link seamlessly to other tools, such as Click, and we can also visualize data in real time, handling complex queries and data linkages and groupings with ease. And we're also providing web platforms for other key markets. And here's where the transition between B2B and B2C become really valuable. The old days of separating out B2B and B2C services can fade into obscurity. We're challenging the way that people interact with systems by leveraging the best-of-breed technologies and providing world-class, highly scalable systems and tools. We're looking forward to growth here in North Wales. We're really happy that you've shared part of our story today. Hopefully, you'll have seen a few of the things that we do at the moment, and I'm excited to see the next set of developments. And I hope you'll join us at other events when we launch these to the market too. I'll simply summarize what we do into a few words. We help you derive tangible value from your data. Please feel free to get in touch. I'll hand over to Carwyn now to close things down.
Carwyn, you're on mute.
My apologies. Sorry about that. So to wrap up again on following up on what Mike was saying, and to go back over Brian, Joseph, Rune, and Matt have covered as well. We brought to you the winning in the experience economy. The question I wanted to bring as well is, where are we doing this? And we're doing this as Mike mentioned, we're building out a team in North Wales to cover our future plans for building a technology platform to take this to the next level. And our parent company is over in Ireland, where we have a strong team delivering these solutions globally. We're building in this particular building, MSpark up in North Wales, building into that ecosystem. And as I mentioned, we're working with clients all over the world. We're a global delivery solutions company. This morning, we had another session. This will be available in the recordings if you want to catch up with this, if you didn't catch up with this morning. And we were talking about smart information, the value of working with and getting value out of your smart information. To get in touch with us, please do get in touch with us through hello@capventis.com. Our website, which will cover a lot of information we'll cover today, is capventis.com. And I just wanted to finish off by saying, diolch yn fawr iawn I chi gyd am ymuno ni heddiw. Thank you very much for joining us with us today. And please do get in touch with us if you'd like to hear anything more about what we're up to. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Rewatch all of our sessions online. Thank you to our partners.